Well, Juan and Alan, Juan, welcome. Where are you today?
Oh, I am at home at the farm. Uh, I I'm in quarantine here. It's not easy, but I'm being working in the tractor as I have a lot of time, but I don't have. I need some tools, and well, I'm trying to do the best that I can with the tools that I have.
Thank you for taking time to spend with us. That's fantastic. I appreciate it.
Yes, it's not easy. I try to. I I wish I can come to all the meetings, but at when it is at near the mm, I don't know how to say in the middle of the day, it's not easy for me, but it doesn't matter. I always try to see the videos.
It's lunchtime for me, so it's a little bit easier for me to stop myself. So I
Okay.
understand. So, and we can always set up special meetings as well, or adjust the time a little bit if need be.
No, no.
People are
I
pretty
will
flexible.
try. I will try to arrange my my Fridays to try to be in all the reunions. It's a matter of that I need to work better my channel.
Cool.
I I've been working. I don't know how do you organize the reunion, the meeting. Can you use the script the other day?
Generally, during this, we just do an open discussion, and we just do a virtual roundtable, and people share what's going on with them and activities that they've been working on, and any questions that they have. So we don't have any no canned or specific agenda. So if anybody has a particular problem or an issue that they want to discuss, we dig into that. So if you want to start and share where you're at, that would be fantastic, because I'm sure I know I'm interested, because I think you and I are in you're probably a little, I'm not sure whether you're a little bit ahead, but we're very near each other, I think, where we're at.
Yes, I think that they're in the same page. Um, One of the problems that I was facing is that I wasn't getting information from the wheel sensor, so I was um, postponing trying to put some order in the cables in the tractor. So I come out with that I don't have any options. So I began trying to order the cables because I have a mess of cables. I'm working on it. Uh, I'm not sure if I can share my phone screen, but I will try. I'm pretty happy with the results that I'm getting because it looks much better. Uh, and I show it to my wife, and my wife thinks the same. Um, that's very important. Okay, like this. Here's my tractor. Can you see it?
It's not yet. We see a white. All we see is white.
Can you see the tractor?
Now we can. Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Well, I've been working in this. Maybe the sun is not the best companion, but I rearrange all the electronic here and here. I'm having problems because I have some cables that I'm not sure where I should put them, but the problem was the sensor. This one, I'm not getting electricity to this sensor, because in the back, it had this light, and when I tested in the installation that I have, the sensor wasn't working. So that was the thing that led me to begin trying to order the installation. One of the things that when we work with Matt here in Argentina was very different because I have to make some changes because we couldn't accomplish the getting the information from the GPS. I don't know really why have that problem. So I made another installation for the GPS that is here. And this installation is all thinking to work with the network. Here you can see the network cable. So I transmit the information from GPS, the Swift navigation, through the network to the Raspberry Pi that is here. So I have to build a little network for the tractor. For me, I'm not sure because I need to see in the long term how this will end. But building a network in the tractor, I think is important because it let me attach things that need a lot of bandwidth, like cameras and all other information, and bring it all together in a network that I think it's important. But I'm not sure about that. I will see it in the future if it was the right move to do. We didn't do that with Matt at the first time. I'm not sure if it will be the right thing to do. But well, in the other by the other way, I was very happy to accomplish the trial that I made with the commands, the command belt. It was I was very happy with that. It's a dog coming here. I was happy with that, but now I'm have the goal to do it with the GPS, and I will try to solve the problems that I'm having now.
So on your wheel encoder, I think that's that LJ18, I think is the one that you have. So
Yes.
you've got it working now, right?
No. Still, because I finished the reordering the wires today at an hour ago. But I'm not finished 100% because I'm I don't know how to say it, but I'm having more cables and I don't know how to where to put them. I will try to solve that because I take notes, but it was such a mess of cables. First of all, because I choose a bad cable for working, a very hard cable. So I think that by tomorrow I will end up completing the installation of the tractor again. One of the things that I was having problems was that as I build the boxes where I put the electronics, when the tractor began moving, it all began shaking. So that's something that I will try to solve in this new installation.
Okay.
Sorry for my English. I feel that I'm not sure if you're understanding what I'm saying.
No, your English is, yes, I understand. Your English is fine. I could struggle through with Portuguese, but I couldn't do Spanish. So I'm glad you're here. Stay here. We'll take broken English over you not being here any day.
Uh, I, I I think that I will try to solve the the sensor, and was one of the problems that I was not being able to pursue the GPS thing. But I'm not sure if this is a consequence of the crashes that I have with the tractor, or an electrical failure. One of the things that I will try to work in the future is to get better information in an easier way from the tractor, because uh, now I'm much confident with the command line, and it's been a very good trip for me of knowledge the tractor, but I'm not sure that I'm getting all the information in the way that I can understand it. Surely the information is there, but I'm not being able to understand which are the problems that I'm having with the tractor, and that they are not letting me accomplish the GPS goals.
Can we break that down a little bit? So have you tested the GPS, say, on your desk? I mean,
Yes,
forget.
yes. It's not a problem of the GPS. It's more about a problem of the topics, the subscribers, and the publishers. This week I was looking of try to, I don't know how to say, to read again all about ROS topics, publishers and subscribers, because I think that uh, ROS, it's a very good system, and it's a very solid system. So it must be something that I'm doing wrong, and it must be something very silly, because this week on, I think it was on Monday or on Saturday, I on Monday I make a republish. When we were in the Ross reunion on Saturday, I tell the group the thing. I use Ross topic tools, command line tool that let you relate topics, publish and republish and subscribe. And when I'm receiving from the GPS a topic called TCP fix, and I republish that topic in a topic called GPS. And when I done that, I get ODOM. I get the ODOM, GPS ODOM. So I think that I have to dig a little more in the topics that are published in the system of the tractor. It's a software thing, but I'm not sure which is the problem. But as I republish the topic, the TCP fix as GPS, it all began working. So I'm not sure if I can change in the package the name of the topic as it's been published, and publish it as GPS. I'm not sure. I will try something about that. And the topic tools is a very good tool, because you don't have to break nothing to try to use that thing.
Juan, I'm sharing my screen. Have you cloned the Navset driver from Ross Agriculture yet?
I'm not sure, because one of the problems that I have is that as I have the Kotlin folder in the tractor and the Kotlin folder in the base, I have repeated folders in that in the two Kotlin space. One of the folders that I have repeated is the geodesic tools, and the other one I'm not sure, but I will try to clone this package. Where do you have installed it? In the base or in the tracker?
I'm not sure I understood the question. The instructions that I'm sharing on the screen, I mean, I can send you the link for these instructions are on the Google Drive.
Okay.
I will tell you my process was this driver, Matt, took the ROS driver and made it better for us. And then I installed this. And then for me, what was really useful was to just publish or to print out the I never know if I'm pronouncing it right, the NMEA sentence to make sure that I was getting what I thought I was supposed to get. And then to verify that that was going into the ROS topics the way that it was supposed to. So if you've not cloned this knapsack driver yet, this absolutely is one of the steps that you're going to have to do.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some instructions on how to, you can test it on your laptop, and then you can, I've written some steps here on how to put it on the RPi as well.
Yes, but this is in your Raspberry or in your computer?
Well, I put it on both just because I wanted to test it on the desktop first, but then ultimately it has to go on the Raspberry.
Okay. I think that I don't have it in my Raspberry, but I think that because this published the knapsack fix topic.
Yes.
Yes, but I published that that messages with another driver called TCP and MEA.
Well, I mean, you could do that. If that works for you, fantastic. If you want to do what Matt and I are doing, this is the one that we're using.
I will try to get it, and I think that I will not break anything for trying to test it. I'm not sure. Crosspath, find and MEA driver. Return. Well,
which is the one that you're using?
The TCP and MEA. I'm using my phone. That's why I cannot share my computer screen. Yes, I'm using the TCP and MEA driver.
And is it a ROS? Was it written for ROS?
Yes. It was written for ROS.
So that NEMA knapsack driver, it can read off of TCP, or it can read off of serial, or it can read off of a topic. So it can get that GPS data from 3 different ways. Yes.
I'm not sure if it can read it from topics.
Yes.
He can read it from TCP.
Yes, it's
because you have to put
TCP, serial, or topic.
Okay. And I'm getting the information from the GPS that way, and I'm publishing it in the system, in the ROS system with that. What I'm not sure if the other scripts, if there is some of the scripts that is asking, subscribing to a different topic for that. And I think that's my problem.
Juan, I put a URL in the chat. Is that
No,
the one that you're using?
this one. I put the Ross org wiki.
You think that's the one he's using, Matt?
Yeah, so
Yes, the
so
Crea Lab,
NEMA,
the first one.
you're using the first one?
Yes.
Okay, cool. The NEMA Navsat driver out on ROS org, you can take a look. If you look at, there's 3 nodes. It doesn't matter. In any way, what's fun about ROS is you can use anything. And as long as it works for you, great. The one nice thing about this, if we can kind of somehow standardize on things, it makes troubleshooting and then systems go a little bit smoother. So this NEMA Navsat driver, it will read from TCP. You can look at 4.3.
Oh, so I have no
topics.
problem. I will use it. I will use that. I'm not a fan of the other one. I can change. The problem was that I wasn't sure if there was another way to read TCP. If I read
Okay.
TCP with the other one, I will use the other one.
So there's just some upgrades. So how do we, if we use similar software, we're going to get out of sync, but basically the NEMA Navsat driver node that's out on Ross Agriculture site is will publish heading where the other one doesn't. So there's some changes that have been done.
Okay. So I'm getting the heading with the script,
Yes.
the heading script, and it was it's working, that script.
Okay.
I didn't have problems with that script, but I will try to change that. I don't have no problem about that.
Okay. Maybe it won't work. I mean, maybe this NEMA Navsat driver has got some issues with that TCP driver node.
I'm not sure. I will try to change that. And the other thing that I will try to well, I will have to go this driver. Which topic publish? Which is the name of the topic that is publishing? Because I will have to change the script, the paper sheet, and the GPS to post because I have different. They are subscribed to other topics.
Yep, that is a really good point. I can share the screen here just so we can take a look how it works. Am I sharing? Can you see this
Yes.
topic reader?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yes.
this is 4.3. There's 3 different ways, but you can go down here and read it. But Juan, you asked a really good question. What topics are published? And it defines the published topics right here. If you read from, oh, that's a serial. You want TCP. Sorry. Maybe it doesn't do it. But definitely you want them under published topics. This one looks like it reads the serial reader and then publishes out on the sentences out on this NEMA sentence topic.
That was right there, but you had it on the screen there. Just go up like 4.2 where it says published topics.
Okay,
Right
published
there.
topics.
It says published fixed.
Ah, yes, fix, bell, time ref. It's the same. The other one was TCP fix, TCP bell, and TCP time. Well, it's okay. But you are sure that this works with TCP?
No, not sure. It just says it can read. So maybe that's why that TCP. So is it better to kind of add the TCP to this one or to split off?
No, one thing that I can try is again to read to publish the message, the NMEA message through the USB. because that was why we, as we couldn't accomplish to read the MEA message from the TCP,
Yep.
we have to try other things, and that was why we end up using the TCP.
Okay.
I don't remember why we couldn't solve it in that moment, but maybe it was because we were using the Swift navigation protocol and not the MEA through the USB.
Now, you brought up a really good point there. That TCP should be an option.
But it's not. I'm very happy in the place that I'm now. I can change. I don't have problems changing. But as I know that I can solve it this way, I can try other things and go back if I don't solve it. It's not a problem, because now I'm more confident about doing the backups and restoring the robot. That was something that I wasn't able to do it months ago. Now I'm more confident about that kind of thing. I'm not I'm not having problem for testing.
Okay. I'm glad to hear that. It's a little bit easier to switch back and forth. That's good.
Yes. Let me try to solve the problem that I was having with electronics now, and I think that I'm not confident giving time lapse about these things, because sometimes I can solve problems pretty quickly, and sometimes it takes me 2 months to solve something.
That's normal.
So yeah, so speaking about time, it's not the right way. I can't say what I'm going to do. First of all, I will try to get the electronics working with this installation that I have. When I solve this, I will change the driver and try to read it through the USB because it's much better. I was thinking about that because one of the things that when we work here in Argentina, we were trying to get information from the serial, but
Yeah.
when one of the problems
Juan's audio is.
one day I found out that there's a report here. Can you listen me?
I was having trouble. I don't know if others were.
It was well distorted, but then it cleared up.
Well, I'll repeat. One of the problems was that we were trying to get the information by the serial port here to the Raspberry. So we have a serial to USB cable. But when I was having problems and I have to reflash the Swift navigation GPS, obviously because it was my fault, because I was touching things and I broke it. But one time when I was flashing, I tried to use this port, this mini USB port, and it works. So when I revealed this yesterday, I leave a cable, this cable, a LAN cable, to this LAN cable, and I leave this USB cable. So if I have to switch, it's much easier, and I don't have the problem that I was given. Let me show you something now, because one thing that you were having problems, I built there a node, the RTK node. I'm not sure if you can see it, but I will show you where I leave the antenna. Maybe from here you can see the antenna.
The satellite antenna?
Yes, the satellite antenna of the RTK node. and I built a node up there with the LAN cable, and it's connected to the internet. There, do you see the antenna there? Over the there. I was.
Yep.
Let me see. No, I'm not. What? And I connected to the main power, and as I do that, I stop having problems with the tractor and the GPS board, because sometimes one of the problems that I was getting was that I was getting floating correction, not the fixed correction of RTK. So as I build a better node, I get the better correction. I always get a fixed RTK.
Good.
Yes, that was one of the upgrades that I built here.
And that's with SwiftNav, the GPS system with SwiftNav?
Yes.
Cool.
It's expensive, but I think that it's a very solid technology and very solid hardware, because you have to think that I have put it there. The other day was raining, and the only cover that it have is I put it in a plastic box with, and it's the part of the chimney that is protected from the rain.
Juan, if it's okay, I think we're going to move on to Jeff to see what's going on in his world. Juan, are you?
What?
Jeff,
Hi,
what's
Chef.
going on?
Well, I played with my GPS a little more, and I forgot what I came up with. Oh, I've got that. I've got it set up now, so it's getting my in-trip data directly from my internet, so I don't go through the computer at all. I'm doing it that way. So I can just, if I log into the configuration page, I can say switch from my home network to my hotspot that's right on the thing. So that way I don't have to do any extra configuration than that. And then simply I just turn everything on and it automatically connects and works. So that's working fairly well. I notice I've got it in the house right now, and when I run it, I know my extra receiver that's doing the moving baseline, the RTK light flashes on and off at about a 1 hertz rate or a half hertz rate. And it could be if I put it out in the yard where I've got a good clear view with both antennas, that'll quit doing that. So that's, otherwise I got to look at that. And I need to figure out how to configure this stuff and unconfigure it. It's because when you set it to factory default, it's got a lot of extra stuff turned on that I don't need. So I just need to figure out, on paper, make a list of things to turn on, a list of things to turn off, and then go through and do that. And then once I'm done, I can save the configuration out, and hopefully that would give me what I want on that. So the other thing I was thinking of, what?
Just to get my head around that. So you have implemented an in-trip server.
No, I've got an in-trip client. So it's just one of the little ESP32 camera boards. And I loaded the software on from RGU Simple. And I had to use the camera board because I needed to go through a UART instead of the USB port. But basically, I'm using their software directly, and it's working.
And it subscribes to what?
Mine is set up to subscribe to the Minnesota Department of Transportation intrip server. And okay. I can either go through my home network to do that or go through the hotspot, either one, just so I have an internet connection. That will work.
Cool.
And then I was thinking more about getting my steering, do the Ackerman odometry out of the steering, and I thought, well, maybe I've got enough files saved up that I could use that, so I don't have to go out and create anymore. But I looked last night and I found some files. One was back when I was doing that hemisphere GPS and I was driving around the block. But I don't seem to have the data in the form where I'd like to get out the normal differential drive odometry and all the values I'm putting out for the Ackerman odometry at the same time. So I might just set everything up to run again and then go drive around the block just to get data and work on that. So I might get around to do that today. So I'll see how that works out. Other than that, I guess I'm not doing anything at the moment.
Chef, excuse me, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Yes, you drive around the block to get the information or later use it with the robot?
Yes.
Okay. So how do you save the information? Because I was thinking in doing the same thing.
Well, on mine, I have I have a ROS driver that reads the GPS receivers and publishes that as ROS topics. And all my odometry information is published as ROS topics. So I run a ROS bag record that saves all of the ROS topics that go by. It saves those to a file, and you can go back and play those back later.
Okay. So I understand. So as you record that in the ROS bag, when you will send the robot to do that trial?
Well, I'm currently driving it by hand. I have a remote control system that I just drive it with, so I don't have the navigation software loaded. So I don't say go to this corner and go to that corner. I just use my joystick and then drive it up the sidewalk and then turn and then drive down that sidewalk. So basically, I just turn on ROS bag record, and then any topics that are being published will get saved to a file. And I actually have an external solid state drive plugged into my Raspberry Pi instead of trying to write directly to the flash card that's on the Raspberry Pi. I don't know if it's fast enough and has enough room to do that. So I've got an extra hard drive plugged in to it to be able to do that.
Okay. I lost connection, but the question I was trying to ask you was, in the future when you will try to do the robot do that trial, how do you will send the topic of the GPS trial that you done? Only that?
You have, if you're trying to record the data with ROS bag record, you can specify, if you don't specify anything, it saves all the topics going by. So I'll get a lot of extra information that I may or may not need. Or you can specify on that command, say, just save the GPS topic, or just save the odometry, or you can list the topics on that line that you want to save.
Yes, I understand that, but I don't know how you think that you are going to use it.
Well, when I'm done, there's somebody published a script that will say, take your ROS bag, and it converts each topic, it converts it into a CSV file. And then let me pull up a thing just as an example here. So basically I take that CSV file and open it in Excel, and then I can do all kinds of wonderful things with it.
Okay. I understand now. Now you get the GPS points from the ROS bag that you subscribe to the topic GPS, and then in Excel you take the points to make the waypoint navigation.
Well, at the moment I'm not doing waypoint navigation. I'm just simply driving it around manually and then saving all this information. So what I'm trying to do right now is I want to be able to convert the steering angle and take the distance I've moved and convert that into an odometry message. And in order to figure out how to do that, I'm trying to figure out the process I need to do that. So by having all the numbers, see if I actually physically drive the thing, and when it's going straight, it should say I have a steering angle of 0 and everything should go straight. And if I turn the joystick, say 20 degrees to the left and drive, that's going to define, it's going to drive in a circle on the ground. And I can get back the odometry information says you are at this XY location. So if I plot that out later, I'm trying to find an example of this here, and
No,
Before,
but I understand. It's very interesting. I didn't think that I could do that. But the first time that I built a ROS bag was last week. So I'm very new in the ROS bags.
and the ROS bag simply saves whatever you tell it to save. So then you can extract that data out, and you can actually say play it back, and then run it back through the ROS nodes, and they'll think you're driving around when you're actually not. So that's one thing to do with it. But I found this.
One question about the ROS bag. When you activate the ROS bag, you play the ROS bag, you have to have the robot, or you can play the ROS bag in a different environment.
You could play it anywhere you want. It's just all the messages that are going by at the time. So you can put that on a different computer and say ROS bag play or whatever the command is, and all those topics start coming out. It starts generating ROS topics that looks just like the machine was running.
Okay. I must be doing something wrong. So sorry to interrupt you.
That's okay.
Matt put a couple of links in the chat as well, showing at least one converter for ROSBAG to CSV. I have one as well. I'm not sure if it's that same one, but yeah, it is useful. And also I see the RQT playback link, which is, I'm sure, useful as well. Jeff, anything else to share?
I don't think so.
Alan, as I look at Zoom here, it looks like you're in the...
I'm in the hot seat next.
Sort of, I guess. I'm not sure if I'm going clockwise or counterclockwise. Alan, what's going on in your world?
Yeah, I had a question for Jeff on the altitude that he uses. If you know, there's two different types of altitude, and maybe even more than that. Do you use the one that's height above the ellipsoid, or height above mean sea level, or something else?
I don't use altitude at all. If I'm going to use it, I suppose it's something you might want to look into, but I use whatever the thing puts out, basically.
Okay.
And it could be there are different messages that come out that would tell you, the different formats, the different modes that are there. But so far, I haven't really found a use for altitude.
Okay.
I could take the altitude that GPS puts out and compare it to the altitude that say an IMU puts out. If you've got an IMU that has the barometer on it, that'll give you a reading in air pressure above sea level, and you can convert that into altitude if you know what your if you know what the current barometric pressure is outside, then you can use that to convert that to altitude. So you might be able to use it for something like that. But so far, I drive on flat ground and I don't care what my altitude is. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, here we have enough contours in the land that I want to use altitude to lay out my contour strips.
Doesn't the GPS on certain systems, they give you the altitude?
Yeah, it does, and it's pretty straightforward to get it. It's just there's two different options, two primary options. One is height above mean sea level, and the other one is height above the ellipsoid. And I don't know that I could explain what the differences are. And it probably doesn't matter. I probably just pick one and just use the same one all the time and I'd be fine. So I thought maybe if there was a really hard reason to use one or the other, I'd go with that. But I don't think it matters a whole lot.
Alan, were you planning on using an IMU?
Yeah, I guess I could talk just a little bit about that. So I used a PVC pipe to put my antenna onto my rover, so that for my GPS readings, so that it's about 1.5 feet above the rover. And I used PVC because I wanted to mount my IMU and the magnetometer, if I'm saying that right, to that PVC pipe. And that way I won't have any interference from the metal or the electronics down on the rover. So yeah, I think I will add an IMU at some point.
The only reason I ask is that I haven't fought through the challenges of it. I do know that Ag Open GPS guys, I mean, they get tilt and deal with tilt because, I mean, they're worried about contour as well. So
Yeah.
I was just curious. That's a whole nother kettle of fish. The whole IMU debacle.
Yeah. So yeah, my antenna is probably going to be about, I'm guessing about 3 feet above the ground. So it's not the same as putting it on the top of a tractor cab where it might be 8 or 9 feet high. So the deviation isn't going to be as substantial, but yeah, there could be some, if it's tilting a little bit, my GPS reading will be off just a little bit.
Anybody who knows about writing mobile apps on phones, I actually think that someday we're going to figure out how to integrate flipping the phones into these, because these things have fantastic, I mean, they figured out how to get
Yeah.
the magnetometers and
It's all in there already.
Yeah, I mean, the GPS is not going to give you centimeter level GPS today, but the angle or the magnetometer and the gyroscope, I think, are fantastic in those things.
I actually went down that path for a year plus when I first started out, and then I didn't really want to learn programming in Android. I had some guy help me for a while, but I just didn't want to learn Android, and didn't have the, I wanted to use Java, and so I couldn't run Java on the phone very easily, and it didn't have a lot of power, so I just decided to go with a small form factor computer to put right on my rover. But yeah, that's where I was at too. I thought, hey, this has got a great camera, it's got a great IMU, it's got a great, everything, compass, all that stuff was in there. So I thought, why not go with that? But that's why I went away from that.
Did you use Android Studio and all that from Google?
I don't know. I had some guy help me write the stuff, and it worked pretty well. We had an app. I mean, you'd go to the app store, and I'd download the app, and it was my custom designed app.
I like Android Studio. It's you can load stuff right onto your phone that you're programming. And I agree with all the other assessments about all the stuff that's on your phone, cameras and so forth. It just seemed like almost add some legs to the thing and it's a robot.
Right. We didn't get great cell phone service here, so we were having a little challenge with that, in that could get okay coverage, but not the best. So that was another limiting factor for me. Although in some cases that might be a bonus, because you don't have to, now I'm limited because I've got to have a Wi-Fi network. So there's trade-offs there.
Anything else going on, Alan, you want to share?
No, that's good for today.
Doug, how about you? Anything going on?
Oh, to work on that electric lawnmower, I'm gonna stick that lighter I got about a week ago. Yeah, running here. Here's my, can you see my screen?
And looks like a radar system.
Well, so in the bottom there's a door, the bathroom that swings open. I'll swing it shut here, and it'll just swing back probably. Yeah, here it goes. So there's an example. Door's open again. And I'm this blob here, kind of right there, going toward it. Anyway, so it's working pretty well now. I got it all figured out for that, and I'm going to stick it on that electric lawnmower and stick my wheels on there and do some live experimenting, I think, next. So I'm looking forward to that.
What is that red line that's on there?
Wherever my mouse is at, it aims toward you. Like right now, it's aiming at me.
Oh, so
and then
it's
here's that
telling you like
door.
at the distance.
That door that I was playing with before, and then like here's a cabinet that has one door closed and one door open. And over here, where the screen is, it doesn't like glass. Like here, is my big big TV that I use for I don't know if you can see my mouse too or not, but is up on the upper right there, and so it just reflective properties aren't that great on it, and so it doesn't pick that up. There's a wall over here. My desk is over here with all the junk on it. So quite glad I got it all working, and I got low, down in the low level serial, or the messages it was sending out, and so I think I can manipulate that to get directly the data. Like I want to be able to say, hey, what's the nearest blob? How far away is it, and that kind of thing, and that helped me do some integration. And it also has a ROS. The manufacturer of the YD LiDAR has basically 3 support things besides the manuals and so forth. It's pretty well documented. I like that. And it's got an SDK. It has the ROS package, and then it has what's the other one? Oh yeah, this Windows based viewer that I'm on right now, which looks cool, but it's on Windows, so it doesn't really, it shows you it's working, I guess. Yeah, go back to that. Where we go? Zoom. Okay. Take that down to. How do you make it not share? Stop share.
Stop sharing. You gotta, yeah,
There it goes. All right, that's the first time I've actually shared on ROS Ag here, so I'm learning. So now I'll be able to go use that O driver that Jeff said to use. And I have that run the hoverboard motors that I'm going to attach to the back of that. It's actually a push lawnmower. It's a 24-volt thing. I thought the batteries were dead on it, but I think it must be the switch, because I put the charger on there and nothing, and so I thought it was like dead from that. But I think it's that now. I think it's that just the switch. I can just bypass that, hot wire that, get that going. So that's be a nice platform to test out the LiDAR and that kind of thing with that. That's what that's where I'm at now.
Cool. Anything else, Doug?
That's it.
Well, just quickly then, my next step is to, I was struggling with my wheel speed sensor algorithm, and this is some code that runs on my magnetic sensor. It reads something called an AS5048. It's a magnetic sensor. It happens to be this thing that gives a reading of 0 to, it's a 14-bit sensor. So, I mean, that's the top end number. I was testing it and getting a goofy number and realized that it was because it was vacillating between that number and 0, because it was right there at the edge. And so I was decided to take a slightly different approach, rewrote some code, and now I've effectively, I'm converting that number to 0 to 360 degrees and using, the same logic that you do with a compass heading. 12 o'clock p.m. That's Doug's alarm that says, "Hey, get off the call."
I put new batteries in it so it doesn't sound so cranky now.
Yeah. So if you ever dealt with compass headings, I mean, you probably know that there's some well-known logic about, hey, if you've got to do some conversion around 180 degrees and 360 degrees. And so I've written this and desk checked it. Now I need to go put it on the lawnmower and jack the wheels up and run it. But the notion is similar to Jeff. I want to keep track of distance traveled and publish meters per second. So I'm intending to publish meters per second and total tricks. Well, meters traveled and meters per second. So I've got some new code written and need to go test that. So that's my next step. And I've taken out, to try to simplify this code and not make it Teensy specific. I previously was using a Teensy interrupt. I've just boiled that down to, having a time-based loop. I also simplified it. I used to rely on, let's see, I thought I had it in here. Oh, I used to rely on a library written by this guy, but I took that out and just pulled the, I just pulled out the salient part, so I don't actually read that library. So the only library that I'm using is the wire library. So it's a very skinny down version. So I like the fact that it's not I don't think it was ever bloated, but I like the fact that it's just using a very simple, well-known library now. So that's where I'm at. Hopefully later this afternoon, the lawnmower will be jacked up and the back wheels will be spinning up off the ground, and I'll be counting revolutions and deciding whether the output is consistent or not. A little trick that you guys probably all knew this, I didn't know this, but I'm intending on, so this code will be running on the Teensy, and this will be plugged into the RPi, and I'll be feeding that into the serial port on the RPi, and then using a Python program to read the serial port of the RPi and reading those serial commands off the RPi just to debug it. And then I'll put those into the ROS statements, just again, to test it without using the overhead of ROS. I don't know if you guys have ever done that before, but because I have to deal with sort of the USB side of this thing, I thought that was just a learning for me, is to figure out how to putty into the RPi and read the serial output from the Teensy. A little trick. But that's what's going on in my world. Plus I have a border collie crying in the background. I don't know if you can hear him or not.
Are you using Minicom to read your serial port to debug those statements?
No, don't know what Minicom is. What is Minicom?
Just a serial port reader.
Where does it run on the RPi? Is that what it does?
It's a command line tool. It's a really lightweight way to look at your serial data. So for example, if you have, you mentioned SSHing into your RPi and then being able to read the serial port. Did you just cat the serial port, or what are you using to read the serial port?
A really short Python program that sits on the RPi and reads the Teensy
Debug messages.
Well, it actually, I'm like seeing if I can find the program. I don't know if I have it on, I think it's only sitting on my RPi, so I don't have it at the moment.
Okay, no worries.
It's a really short Python program that just reads the serial port and outputs it. Reads it one place and outputs it to another.
Okay.
But your Minicom, is that what you said?
Yeah, it's just it's a Linux tool program to read serial ports.
I'll have to Google that. I thought I had found fire when I'm like, I can read what's coming out of the Teensy and I can just like do serial output on the Teensy and see it on the RPi. Oh, this will be cool.
It looks
I-
great.
Because I was always having to like put ROS info statements in there and like having to like do all that. And I'm like, I'll get there, but that was slower to me than, anyway, during the debug process.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of Teensy's, I see the Teensy 4.1 is out. So it's a bigger form factor of the Teensy 4.0. And assuming you can see it, this is on SparkFun. So I'm sure if you go to the company that makes it, they'll have stuff too. But they're somewhere, it just in the brag sheet here, it said, I don't see where I found. Basically, it said it has more memory and it has better peripherals. And I don't remember if that was compared to the 4.0 or compared to the previous ones. But anyway, I still have the opinion that unless I need a 600 megahertz processor, I don't really need this unless if I can look at the peripherals and they really are much more fabulous than what I have, then maybe I'd get it. But for $27, it's more expensive than the board I'm using right now. However, it's going to be well supported on the Arduino IDE and probably just works out of the box. So that's one
gig
advantage.
Ethernet.
Does it have a connection
Seriously.
for it? A lot of these things have that, but you have to solder wires on for connector to do it. So
You do have to solder a connector on, but it's a monster board.
Unbelievable. I was going to go the other direction. I ordered 10 nanos for like $20. And I mean, I think my wheel sensor, my suspicion is my wheel sensor can run on a nano.
I think you have 8 hertz there on the nano, or is it 16 or 8?
I don't know.
It'll work.
it's 16 megahertz. It's not hertz. But,
Okay.
but yeah.
Okay.
It'll work.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's $2 or whatever, you know? But anyway, I was just at least going to try it. I'm like, $20 for 10? Come on.
And keep in mind that's a 5-volt board, and your sensor may or may not be 5 volts, or it might be 3.3 volts. So at least give that just a little bit of thought before you hook it up.
Yeah, the magnetic sensor, they, at least at the moment, they're both, or I mean, they have a pin for 3.3 and a pin for 5, so you can run either one.
Nice.
Now on the LiDAR that I got, it's 3.3 volt logic, but I was able to read it fine using the Arduino, which is 5 volts. So, but I just didn't send it any information because it's really simple. I just, read the serial port out the signals from it. So you can do one way, but probably don't want to do the other way sometimes.
So back to Al's comment, it's got a 3.3 volt pin and a 5 volt pin. You're talking about input voltage to the thing. What's important is what are the I/O lines? Are they 3.3 volt or 5 volt? signals. And probably it's probably a 3.3 volt part. And if you connect that to the I2C of a 5 volt processor that has 5 volt pins, that may or may not be a problem. So they may, if it's got app notes or whatever, it might tell you whether you can do that or not.
Yeah, I'd have to check, Jeff. I don't know. So yeah, it's like, so it definitely is I2C. But off the top of my head, I'm running 5 now. I don't remember whether it's dual voltage tolerant or not. What's this, Doug? I heard a tornado hit Texas and did millions of dollars worth of improvements. That's
Did you know what hurricane and Texas divorce has in common?
a hurricane and a Texas divorce have in common. No, what does a hurricane and a Texas divorce have in common?
Someone's gonna lose a trailer.
You guys. I'm going to come up with a Minnesota joke for the next time.
Anyways.
Okay. Well, it's 1:11 on my PC clock, so I think that's good for the day. Any more?
No, good stuff as always, though.
Happy building.
Guys, have a great weekend.
You
We'll
too.
talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
Have a good weekend.
Bye.